What's going on, guys? This is Berz. I want to talk to you today about the Aimpoint T-1 micro red dot. And this one right here, actually I've used for many years with many rounds through it, and I've had zero problems with it. The one thing that you will see with the Aimpoint is lots of rugged use. You can definitely, beat the crap out of this thing, and it's not going to cause you problems. And it's probably why they're around $500 to $600 for this optic. And a lot of people, that'll turn them off right away. But once you start rolling through a few of these $100 optics like this Aimpoint or this Bushnell TRS 25, these are about $100 a pop. And you go through a few of these, initially you should have just bought the Aimpoint to begin with. So this one specifically is the 2 MOA version. I like the smaller red dot. It's definitely bright enough in the daylight. I don't have any problems whatsoever with picking up, in bright sunlight. The red dot has lots of different levels. As you can see here, they're actually numbered. So as you go through them, you can see them change. And the thing I like about the Aimpoint is, as you're shooting, this gives you the ability to move forward to go higher, and to go backward to go lower on the brightness levels. When you have something like this is the Bushnell TRS 25, this allows you to go back and forth, and there's no stop to it. So depending on where you're at, you can kind of get lost in the settings of where you're at. Are you on? Are you off? It's not very intuitive as the Aimpoint is. And I've seen some that are on the top actually instead of on the side. So I like the positioning of where the high and low settings are, and it rotates really easily to them. But as it comes back to the last to 1 and you go to 0, it stops. Okay, and I like that. That way you can, at least by feel out exactly where you are with the settings. As far as putting up with tons of abuse, I've had this on an Ultimac rail. This one actually particularly right here, for thousands of rounds on my my AK, and I've had zero problems. And that's mounted directly. I mean, this is the gas tube, so as far as heat goes, it's about as hot as it's going to get, with thousands of rounds to that thing. And I've had zero problems with this thing shutting off. I've had zero problems with the dot getting kind of goofy. So as far as taking it out and using it and expecting it to work, this is definitely one I can recommend. It's on the higher end, as I said, with pricing. So you pay for what you get usually, and buy once, cry once is how I feel about optics. And with this one, you can definitely see that you're buying quality. You're not going to buy something that's it's going to not last. And as far as lasting, the actual lifetime that you get with one battery is a couple thousand hours of usage. So if you turn this on and you throw it in your range bag, and 3 months later you go back and you're like, oh, I left my optic on, it's still going to be good for another 6 months. So leaving your optic on accidentally, you don't have to worry about, oh, in 5 hours or in tomorrow this thing is going to be dead. And if your life depended on it, it's definitely something that they built into the optic, is the ability to have the best battery life on the market. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off and get a closer look. All right, so as you can see here, this is definitely the reason it's called a micro red dot, because it's small, fits in the palm of your hand, and it's around 20 millimeter in diameter reticle. I'll go ahead and go through the different power settings for you. As I'm going through them, you'll probably see them. There you go. So that's the highest power setting right there. And let's compare that to the TRS 25 right here. So as you can see, the difference in the actual ability in sunlight, you can see just how much brighter that one on the left is, which is the Aimpoint, compared to the one on the right. You can just see the amount of light that it's putting out. So you pay for what you get for, and if you want something in the daylight where you're going to be able to see the red dot, getting a Aimpoint or an EOTech or something that's definitely a little bit more expensive is the way to go, in my opinion. If you're looking for all-around performance day and night, and for a lifetime, definitely the way to go. The main thing people will say is, why is it so expensive? Well, number one, it's durability. I've never had on the front or the rear any sort of cover or anything like that, and this thing's going through classes, and it's going through range time. It's been probably dropped a few times. Actually, it has been, as far as the rifle goes. And you still have a very clear optic. Of course, you're gonna have to clean the glass from time to time, but nothing's broke, nothing's cracked. And that's one thing you're gonna notice. The other thing you're gonna notice is with this one, compared to the Bushnell and all the other ones in the market that are knockoffs, you have a clear vision. I mean, it's a great, you know, circle. There's nothing interfering with your vision. As you can see with this one, I forget what it's actually called, but it's actually the diode or whatever is actually representing and pushing out that the red dot down here. You can see it actually in, you know, taking up probably about 5% of the space there of the diameter of the optic. You don't have that as much with something like this because, you know, they want to make sure you have that nice perfect circle and field of view, and that's what you're going to get with this, is just quality. You know, you got a metal housing, which the majority of them do have, but, you know, I mean, it's just been, you know, perfect. It's been something that I really haven't had to worry about. And that's the one thing that you'll get when you spend a lot of money on a piece of gear that's so renowned for being perfect. You don't have to lose sleep over the fact of if this is going to work or not. I've never changed the battery in this in, you know, a few years, and perfect. As you can see, it's still strong as the first day I got it. There it is on the highest setting, and still going strong. And I have left this on a few times. So now some people will talk about, you know, keeping zero, etc. You know, I've dialed this in on my 1AK. I've never had to change the windage or anything, windage, elevation, anything like that in relation to, you know, where I had it set. I've never had to change it from the first day when I set it. So that's the one thing you'll notice when you have a quality optic, is that red dot doesn't drift either way. So basically what these are is 1x magnification, which means, you know, if you didn't have a red dot, it's the same thing you'd see, and, you know, looking through this red dot, there's no magnification. So what you see without the red dot is what you're going to see through the red dot. So just keep that in mind. There's no magnification with T1. The one thing a lot of people will do is they'll put either flip up sights, or they'll put on what, you know, I guess a lot of people call bikinis, which is those rubber fronts and backs. And you know, I've never used that with this, and you can see, you know, the glass is still good to go. There's no scratches or anything like that on it. It's still clear. And the reason I don't use that is because in the worst opportune time, when you actually need to use your rifle, the last thing you're going to think about is taking off that piece. The flip ups are definitely better, but I always see people who will put those, you know, bikini fronts and bottoms with the string on the side here, and I never used them. And I know a lot of people don't use them because of that sheer fact of, when you want to use this, you want to have it ready to go, and you don't want to have, you know, the stupid bikini back and front going on. Now a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to damage the glass. With a red dot like this, you really don't have to worry about that too much. I've used this in many different you know, courses. I've used it at the range, and I don't go to the range and just plink. I mean, I go to the range and I run through drills, and I make sure that I'm good to go, you know, with barriers, etc. And, you know, I've never had any sort of problem with the glass on this Aimpoint T1, or pretty much the majority of the optics I have. So I really think a lot of people are a little oversensitive to the fact that, oh, you know, I spent $500 on this, I want to make sure that I keep the glass, you know, good to go. I'm telling you, the worst opportune time you need to use your rifle, the last thing you're going to think about is taking off the front and the back little bikini thing, or even, you know, the flip up sights, you know. So if you have them on there, I recommend you at least practice taking them off in a stressful situation before you you know, go forward. So all in all, I'm really impressed with the Aimpoint. You know, can you afford a few? If you have a few rifles, I mean, it's definitely up to your own budget. Me personally, I have one, and you know, it goes on my main blaster, and that's where it's going to stay. So all in all, you know, it holds up to the heat, holds up to abuse, and holds up to battery life. I mean, the battery stays on for a very long time, and the only reason I'm going to replace mine soon is just because it's been a while, and I just want to make sure that I'm good to go. But I've been good to go for years now with this. Never replaced the battery, never had to change anything as far as the you know, windage or elevation or anything like that. It stayed on. You know, they don't recommend that you use any Loctite. I haven't, and it's never come off. And, you know, as far as, you know, keeping a zero and making sure that, you know, where I'm shooting is where, you know, this thing's aiming, is I've never had any problems. And it's definitely one thing I don't have to worry about. And there's a reason you pay $500 to $600 for an optic, because you don't want to have to worry about something that's very important, which is your point of aim. So, I mean, if you guys are looking for a great optic, and you definitely want to get something on your main blaster, or if you have enough money, you know, put this on, you know, all of your rifles, you know, this is definitely one I recommend. I like the fact that it's small. I don't like optics that are just ginormous and heavy. It's very lightweight, and it's a micro red dot. and it's definitely my favorite in the stable of red dots that I have. So if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. If you guys have an Aimpoint T1, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, or better yet, make a video about it. Until next time whatsoever, with this one. Man, I keep saying this one. What the